Okay, installing bearings on a 2006 Yamaha Rhino. Did all the bearings, including all the transmission bearings in this motor and the output drive shaft as well. This double bearing here, be careful when you're removing that. There's an aluminum ring right here, and it's easy to kind of mistake this ring for the outer race of the bearing. So just make sure that you have to pound this one out on the inside railing of the bearing. And when I was installing it, it was sitting up high. I compared the bearings. I went online and looked at eBay where they're selling engine cases, and I did a Google search where they're selling used engine cases, and I was able to look at pictures and also take pictures, good pictures, get angles like that, stuff, when you're before you pull the bearings out, so you could, how far they need to go back in. Anyway, this one was definitely up higher, and it's a double bearing, so I was worried about it. So I put a feeler gauge. I was able to get a feeler gauge, just kind of bend it, and then it would go up behind the outer race, and sure enough, there was a gap there. So it was easy to tell. I pressed it down, it popped down, and it all looks good. This larger bearing, I would say it sticks up a little farther than all the other ones. I mean, this one's completely flush. This one here is completely flush. This one here it sticks up a little bit. And you've got this, I think I put this in another video, but you've got this clip, and you can kind of push down on the edge here, and if this thing's, tilting, then obviously the bearing may not be in. It tilts a little bit. I think it's flush. I'm not going to put it in any further. And it's just got a really slight rock to it. I think it's okay though, hopefully. But anyway, this one sticks up a little more. So, and then also if you do want to get a feeler, a gauge behind there, you got to kind of bend it like this, push it up in there and put your finger on the top as well, through the top of the engine case. And you can get the feeler gauge, but make sure you're not measuring this inner race, because there's definitely a gap there, but that's not an issue. Because obviously the inner race is what's turning, and you would not want that touching the bottom of the case. So make sure that, because it's a big bearing, it's 3-inch bearing. So make sure you get your feeler gauge back to the outer race. And you don't want to make a mistake on these engine cases, because they're expensive, they're hard to find, and they're getting harder every year. So I hope that helps somebody out. Also, I would recommend one of these Harbor Freight presses. They're about a little under $200. If you get a 25% off coupon, you can use that. They don't have those as often anymore, but these definitely come in handy. The other method is people use online. You've probably seen, but people put the, you can get an old barbecue, maybe a free barbecue on the side of the road, and convert it in. Some people heat up these aluminum cases, and then you put the bearings in the freezer, and I actually did that method, and it worked pretty well. I was able to get probably 3 bearings, I think, in this case, to just pop right in. In fact, I think this one, the big one, just fell right in. I heated up the case. There's a certain temperature, I forget what it is. You want to research that, but it's around 300 something degrees, maybe not quite 400. And warm up the case, and you put the bearings, keep them overnight in the freezer, and then, had everything set, and I was able to just pop into several bearings. Other ones, especially this double bearing, I had to tap it in and further, and then I used the press. later. So hope this video helps somebody out. I definitely recommend replacing your bearings. I mean, it's a lot of work tearing this thing apart. I mean, you know, you don't want to have to do it twice. So good luck.